I would like to tell you the story of why I quit weed. And I want to tell you this because I want to, one, deter you if you're ever thinking of trying it, or if you already are doing it, I want to encourage you to stop doing it. Because this drug is the most underrated drug that will ruin your life. But basically, I was 17 years old and most of my friends smoked weed. I really didn't think anything of it because what I've heard from it is it's a non-addictive drug, which is a total lie. And then also, it has no side effects. It won't make you hungover. It doesn't have any long-term effects. So, to me, it was the miracle drug. Because what I've heard from many drugs is that it'll make you severely addicted and severely dependent on the drug. So my first time trying it, I still remember. It was New Year's, and my friend, she was prescribed some medical marijuana. It didn't have much THC, so it just had this calming effect. So I smoked it. I smoked a little bit, and I just felt calm for the night. And we even made brownies, the typical stoner stuff. And yeah, I kind of enjoyed myself. So the second time, this was where I actually tried real weed. This time, it was much different. There was this guy that I worked with, and he had weed, and he was gonna smoke right after his shift. So I had the night shift, and being the smart individual I was like, oh, hey, I just want some weed to like calm down because I know it has some calming effects. This guy did not have the calming weed. He had the tweak your ass off weed, and yeah. He led me to his car, and he rolled up a joint or whatever, and he had me take a hit. And I was like, oh, I don't feel anything. Could you give me another one? Because I don't feel calm right now. So he gave me another one. Next thing you know, so as you know, I'm on the job. I like teleport. I teleport to the middle of the parking lot of my my job. I worked at a full service gas station, so basically I had to pump gas for people, and then since I had the night shift, I was the only one there. So what I would have to do is I would have to pump gas for people and then also check them out in the store if they wanted to buy like candy or drinks. So I was luckily working with one of my coworkers, and I already told him like I was gonna get high. So what happened was, for the whole shift, I was completely out of it. I honestly don't know how I did my job, because it was so bizarre. It was like I was teleporting everywhere. I didn't know where I was, basically. And that should have been the first kind of indicator to me of, hey, this is not any normal drug. This is probably the worst drug on earth that you can take, because it completely changed your reality. But I do remember this kind of beautiful scenery because it was near sunset. It was nearing sunset, and time froze for a second, and I was looking at the sunset, and that was basically the only like beautiful time that I had. But then I like came down from it, got the munchies, got some snacks, and everything seemed fine. So after that point, I became more and more addicted. I'll say addicted because that's what I was. I was addicted to weed. So every time I would go out with my friends, I would make sure to go out with the friends that had weed because I wanted it so bad. And weed's not a social drug. It doesn't make you socialize better like alcohol does, or I don't know. I think alcohol is the only one that I can really come up with. But at this point, I was extremely addicted. I wasn't the ones that were like smoking every day. I smoked like every week, just once. There was this one time I went out with my friend, and this is the fateful day that everything changed. So I went out with my friend, and we were gonna go out on his boat. It scares me even talking about it because it was so traumatic. But we were gonna go out on his boat, and he was like, "Oh, do you guys want to smoke before we go?" And from this point on, I would never take more than one hit of whatever was offered to me. Instead, I had the bright idea of smoking way more than I should have, and I smoked 6 full bong rips of weed because I thought the feeling of euphoria would be even greater if I smoked more. Of course, I was sadly mistaken. I took a lot of videos from then. I don't want to show them on here because I was very scared when I was taking these videos. But basically, I became deep in thought right after I had this weed, and I couldn't stop thinking about like just the worst things ever. And it was terrible, and I basically had a brief psychosis. And I remember being on my friend's boat, and he was blaring this like the worst rap music that you could ever like hear. I think it was drill music, and basically it kept rapping about the typical stuff like killing, stealing, all this. And it made me feel the worst. Along with that, I literally did feel like I was dying. And then at one point of the day, I actually felt like I died. But of course, I didn't. But after that day, I didn't feel the same. I was a whole different person. I used to be before that day, I used to be so outgoing, and I used to be just like a funny dude. But after that, I was just silent for, I'd say, a week. And then I finally told my parents, I was like, hey, I smoked some weed, and I think I'm going insane or something. I'm glad they were like very supportive about it, because if I didn't get like any support from that experience, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I wouldn't be telling this story. I would probably be in the same situation that I was in. Long story short, I was taken to the hospital. They did a psych test, and they determined that I just had a brief psychosis. They also told me that I have a 126 IQ, which I was very proud of. But yeah, what I realized in that moment was like, I literally could have ruined my life just by smoking weed. And It was all because I heard about things about this drug, that it was like very safe and people enjoy it a lot, but that's the complete opposite. There's this illusion of security because of what you've been fed through the media. And then when you go overboard with it, you realize the same things that happen with these hard drugs are happening with weed. But honestly, I'd say much worse. So it took a long time to recover from it. I'd say it took probably a year and a half to recover from just smoking one time and greening out one time. But what I want to tell you guys is, even if you're not overdoing it, this drug is still having long-term effects on your health. It's not only changing your brain chemistry and how your brain receives dopamine and serotonin, it's literally making you insane. This drug shuts off basically every motor function that you have, and it makes your body run on autopilot. The one thing I can describe the drug of doing is it makes you feel like you're in a dream. It makes you feel like you have severe autism. It makes you paranoid that there's someone behind you trying to kill you. And if that doesn't seem like something you would try, then yeah, I would not even go near people that are smoking weed. Also, for those who are smoking weed, you already know what I'm talking about. You've already felt these effects of feeling like you're in a dream state, feeling like your body is on autopilot, feeling like you've literally got very bad autism. That's what this drug's doing. And not to mention that the variants of weed out there aren't even the original. These are sprayed with chemicals, and you're basically not smoking weed anymore. You're smoking chemicals straight up. Please, I urge all of you guys, like, don't try it, because it'll literally ruin your life. And if it won't ruin your mental state, it will ruin any dreams or aspirations that you have, because weed kills motivation. It makes you do nothing every day, and it makes you content with where you are right now. In a bad way. Not in a good way where you're just enjoying life and you're appreciating nature around you. No. It literally makes you content with even bad things that you're doing, like sitting on the couch, eating Doritos, sipping Mountain Dew, and playing Call of Duty. Like, that's the main thing that you think of when you think of a weed head, a fucking druggie who smokes weed every day to feel like they're content with life. Because the one thing that I realize with people that smoke weed is that they hate life. They don't enjoy it whatsoever. They would rather live in a reality where it's unreal. It's like they're dead inside. That's what weed smokers are. They're just dead inside. Thanks for watching.